After a couple of years as a fly fisherman, a natural step is to start to make our own flies. Not only for saving money, but also to create your own patterns, which is really interesting. Both Roman Moser and Jakob Jonasson are fly terriers and have developed their own patterns for ages, and nowadays these patterns belong to their favorites. I will show you how to make 3 different streamer patterns, and I will start with a pea fly, a fluffy streamer made of this fluffy marabou. The first time ever I saw this fly was down at the Swedish south coast for sea trout fishing, and ever since then this fly have always been in my fly box. So let's start with a pea fly.
Start by pushing a tungsten head over the shaft of the hook up to the eye before fixing the hook in the vise. Attach the tying thread and then cover the shaft with even turns of the thread back to where the bend of the hook starts. Pull out about 30 centimeters of thread, double it over to make a loop and attach it to the bend of the hook. Choose one side from 2 or 3 marabou feathers with the longest fibres. Position the feathers so that they're lying on top of each other, making the same shape. Pull a magic tool clip over all the tips so the edge of the clip reaches almost all the way to the feather's stems. The clip should compress and hold the feather's fibres together. Trim off the marabou fibres along the edge of the clip. Attach a dubbing twister or hackle pliers furthest down at the end of the dubbing loop. Thread the root ends of the feather's fibres through the loop. Make the loop taut to keep the feather's fibres firmly between the 2 strands of the loop. Open and remove the clip from the feather's fibres, which are now held firmly in the loop. Keep the loop taut, or the feather's fibres might come loose. Spin the dubbing loop carefully so that you end up with a spun marabou hackle. Place the tying thread together with the hackle and wind them on together over the entire length of the shaft to make a fluffy marabou body. Fasten the end of the dubbing loop behind the tungsten head and complete the fly with a good whip finisher knot in the same place. If you comb the body with a dubbing brush, the fly will be fluffier and move better when you fish with it.
When we were up in Lapland and was fishing in Ransarån, Jakob Jonasson showed me a new stream pattern developed by the Swedish fly terrier Niklas Bauer, a horrible creation tied with pink and white marabou. But in front of this fly, Niklas had tied in a magic head, one of these little plastic heads that makes the streamer to swim just like a small little fish. Since then I have used this streamer for rainbow trout, brown trout and Arctic char, and I've caught several fish with it, so it's a really good fly. And the name is Marabou Tratt, so let's go for the Marabou Tratt.
Secure the tying thread and wind on to cover the shaft of the hook up to the bend in the hook. Carefully mix some seal hair and SLF dubbing. Dub this mixture loosely in small amounts straight onto the tying thread. Pull out a further 20 centimeters of thread. Place a finger over the thread where the dubbing finishes and double the thread over the shaft to form a loop. Fasten the loop at the start of the shaft. Twist the dubbing loop together using a dubbing twister or other suitable tool. Wind the tying thread forward and then dub an even body over about 4/5 of the length of the shaft. Secure the dubbing loop with thread and trim off excess material. Use a dubbing brush to brush out the fibres. Cut off 2 eyes from the ball chain. Position and attach the eyes in front of the body on the underside of the shaft using the figure of 8 method. Use a drop of superglue to strengthen the attachment so the eyes can't turn. Trim the narrow end of the magic head to fit between the eye of the hook and the ball chain. Push the magic head over the eye of the hook, but make sure you push it far enough on, as you'll want to get to the eye to attach a leader when fishing with a fly. Cut off a large bunch of white marabou fibres. Position and fasten them with their tips pointed over the magic head. Bend the fibres back and secure them so that they're now pointed backwards instead. Cut off a similar sized bunch of pink marabou fibres and position them with their tips pointed backwards on top of the white fibres. the pink marabou tips should be slightly longer than the white. Dub a few SLF fibres to make a compact spool, and then wind on to make a dubbed head between the wing and the magic head. Complete the fly using a strong whip finisher knot behind the magic head. Fasten the tying thread with a half hitch furthest back at the end of the shaft. If the magic head is too big, then the fly won't move properly. So it's okay to trim it to a suitable size using scissors when you're on the water.
For many fly fishermen, the Zonker streamers are among their favorites. And the Zonkers was once invented by the American angler Ed Byford for more than 30 years ago. Roman Moser has developed his own Zonker that he calls the Sculpin Streamer. Characteristic for this pattern is that he uses his own metal heads, which make the fly really heavy. These heads, they are made of either brass or tungsten, and if you're going to tie these flies for heavy water, deep waters, I would recommend you to tie them with tungsten. That makes the fly to sink really quick. If you would like to learn more and see more from Roman Moser, I would highly recommend you to see his films, where you can learn more about techniques and fly tying. So let's tie Roman Moser's Sculpin Streamer.
Start by covering the shaft of the hook with tying thread. Fasten the yarn so that it lies along the entire length of the shaft, at the same time forming a short tail. Cut off the excess yarn and trim the tail to a length of about 1 centimetre. Thin out the fibres at the end of the chenille yarn and attach it just in front of the red yarn tail. Wind the tying thread forward to the eye of the hook, and then wind the chenille over almost the whole length of the shaft to form an even body. Fasten the chenille about 5 mm behind the eye of the hook. Select and cut off a suitable length of Zonker strip. Push the point of the hook through the leather face of the Zonker strip about a centimetre in front of the back edge of the strip. Then press the leather strip down so that it lies snugly against the body of the fly. Remove and then turn the hook so that it sits in the vise with the point facing upwards. Fasten the tying thread in front of the body. Cut off some flash fibres and attach them along the underside of the body. Bend the zonker strip over the body, keeping it taut, and fasten it with a few turns of thread. Trim off the excess wing material in front of where it's fastened. Attach a strip of plastic raffia so that the two ends form two fins, one on each side of the wing. Trim and shape the raffia so the fins are the same size. Attach a small bunch of deer hair in front of the wing so that the hairs are lying at 180 degrees around the upper surface of the fly. Then trim off the thick ends of the deer hairs. Wind on an even base with tying thread and finish with a half-hitch knot. Shape the base area by first forcing the tungsten head over it. Then spread plenty of glue over the area that will be covered by the tungsten head. Press the head on so that the deer hairs stick out on the sides and over the wing.